What is going on, guys? We are back for the Sunday Scan. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed a fantastic 3-day weekend. These feel like they're becoming routine at this point, coming off of the holiday season. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the time off, enjoyed a fantastic long weekend. Hopefully you spent some time with family and friends. And again, guys, we are back for the Sunday Scan for the week of January 17th. I could not be more excited to continue on the fantastic start that we've had to the year, guys. It's been an absolutely incredible month, really highlighted by an absolutely incredible week last week. First off, I wanted to go ahead and welcome anybody that's new. If this is your first time watching the Sunday Scan, welcome, guys. This is the time of the week where I put out a video every Sunday, usually, but in the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of Mondays off. So on Monday night or Sunday night, obviously, I'm going to put out this video the day before the first day of the trading week, and I'm going to go over all of my focus setups, my watch list, and just some things that I'm going to be looking at, and basically a really detailed game plan going into the week ahead. This has been one of the most impactful parts of my trading journey, is sitting down for 1 hour each and every Sunday and going over charts and looking at what is going to be my game plan for the week ahead. As you guys know, I say it all the time, but probably 95 to 96% of my trades are planned out on Sunday night, and then during the week, it's really just that robotic execution. So couldn't be happier to have you tuning in. I really hope you guys are enjoying these Sunday scans. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below on YouTube and let me know anything you think could make these Sunday scans better, more impactful, and just overall more beneficial to you guys, because at the end of the day, that is the goal. A couple of housekeeping items. First off, if you guys haven't noticed, it's been a fantastic week and fantastic start to the year. Really perfect first 2 weeks on the 25K account for the year of 2023, guys. Green every single day. Couldn't be more excited about that. And with really how dialed in these setups have been, I've started filming some trade recap videos for you. I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that, guys, every weekday that I make a trade in the morning. That's usually my highest confidence setup. I'm going to go ahead and post a recap during after hours the night after, usually about 5 to 10 minutes long, going over what I was looking at, why I took the trade, etc. So stay tuned for those. We're going to create a Discord channel where we're going to archive all of those trade breakdown videos, and you guys can go through and rewatch them. Second housekeeping item, and this is an important one. I know some of the new people maybe aren't aware, but just remember, guys, D-Book and myself both use the private Twitter to journal our trades. D-Book differentiates his journal entries, right, with a basketball emoji. So if there's a basketball emoji in the tweet, that's going to be something from D-Book. If there's no basketball emoji, usually that's going to be, it is always going to be from me. And so like I just said, I wanted to kind of clarify that and just kind of, put that out there. Usually you'll be able to tell because I'm posting the 25K account for you guys to see, and that's my account. D-Book is currently doing the 2K account. So there's kind of, hopefully something for everyone to kind of learn and watch from. So very excited about that. And then, like I said, guys, I'm really, really excited. Got some exciting things in the works for next month as well. Going to start doing some live trading on screen share, hopefully via YouTube. So I'm pretty stoked about that as well. So just wanted to get a couple of those housekeeping items out of the way. If you haven't already, we're currently doing one last 2023 trading setup iPad giveaway. If you haven't looked, it's in the Man's Alerts channel. You can see we're giving away an iPad Air with the keyboard and pen. So very excited about that. Lots of things to be quote unquote excited about. But anyway, guys, again, it's been an absolutely incredible start to the year. Really last week was, really one for the books in my opinion. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. We're going to go ahead and get right into the charts here, guys. I know it's a long weekend and it's a Monday, so a little bit of unusual prep. Always keep in mind, guys, we're coming into a short week and obviously trading options. Like I said, if it's a short week like this, I'll probably trade weekly expiration contracts Tuesday and Wednesday, and then really Thursday, Friday, I've been really focusing on the following week just to buy some more time, with kind of the market that we've been in. But you know what? We're seeing that market change rapidly. I quickly kind of wanted to go over, what we have on tap for this week. We've got a pretty jam-packed week, Fed speaker-wise, right? So we've got Williams on Tuesday, Fed President Bostic on Wednesday, Bullard on Wednesday, and Harker on Wednesday as well. Thursday, we've got Collins, and then Brainerd speaking on Thursday as well. So just keep that in mind, guys. We've got Waller on Friday again. So we've got a pretty jam-packed week in terms of Fed speakers. Remember, guys, we're getting a little bit off of the invisible hand of the Fed, right? We're starting to see less and less super hawkish comments, right? It's not like they're, full on, easing talk, etc. But we're starting to see the Fed play a little bit less of a factor, right? Just on the day to day. So just keep that in mind, guys. We're starting to see the Fed ease off a little bit, which is with one of their most powerful tools, which is speaking, right? So really, I think that's a beneficial thing for the market overall, especially intraday. The moves have been cleaner, right? Less random knives, etc. So just keep that in mind, though. The schedule of Fed speakers and catalysts will be posted in the Discord and on the private Twitter as always. So just keep that in mind. Let's talk about it. Let's get right into the charts, though, guys, and talk about what we've got going for the week ahead. So for the first time in about 3 or 4 weeks, I think I had a weekend swing. I took a very small position in the Coinbase 55 calls for this upcoming week. We had another really beautiful candle close here on Coin. Really strong relative strength, guys. That was actually the reason that I took this trade. We're currently looking at the Coinbase daily chart, and I know this is a little bit of a different, format than the Sunday scan. Normally, I'm talking about the S&P 500, SPX first, but I wanted to start with this because when I have a position over the weekend, I like to cover it first. And so, like I said, guys, I really took this position because of how strong the chart was on Friday, right? Usually that was kind of telling. And what do you know? Bitcoin exploded after hours and ended up going up another 5%. We saw Coin up another 4% after hours, guys, closing at 51.77, closing in on that 52 mark, guys. What a beautiful, position take there. Like I said, guys, these hourly candles, all we saw was consolidation and buying pressure. And then look at the volume that we saw into the close here, right? So if you're kind of curious, why did Mans take that position, right? Why did I take a couple of calls over the weekend, which look like they're going to, really print here on Monday or on Tuesday, excuse me. Well, it's because of this, right? We just saw a steady soak, right? Never broke that 48.27 level. That area held as a very strong support out level on the hourly. And so again, heading into the afternoon, guys, I did take that position based on how strong that price action was. The tape was really, really strong, guys. We saw steady buying pressure, and you can identify that steady buying pressure just by looking at the consolidation we saw here on the chart, right? And so, sometimes when you've got that kind of, BTC's chart look great, Coin's chart look great, it's kind of a little bit of a no-brainer. But again, if I'm taking anything overnight in this market, guys, it's going to still be extremely small size. That was the seismic shift that we saw in the market probably the past week and a half, right? Was that we started seeing multi-day moves, right? I said it early in the week last week. We're seeing these crypto names squeeze 3-4 days, right? That's a big difference. We haven't seen that in probably a year, right? And if we're getting more towards that market, then I'll start to become a little bit more aggressive, right? But again, I want the market to really prove it to me, before, changing up the approach, right? Because the approach for me as of late has been the 1 to 2% a day mantra, right? And just, chipping away, right? Because we're really wanting to focus on, again, my main goal coming into 2023 was that really kind of last improvement on what I think I needed to do better, which was just that consistency factor, right? And so, like I said, guys, I'm really excited with how that's, gone so far. And that's what led me to taking a small speculative position here is that, I've got profits to play with. It's been an incredible month. And so, yes, I took a 1% overall account risk on something, and it looks like it's going to pay huge. So I'm very, very excited about that. Really nice look here on the Coinbase chart. Again, going into tomorrow, right, on Tuesday, guys, let's talk about, possible target areas. Over this 51 level, guys, it's got a lot of clear air, and I'll be honest, really the next major resistance that I see, especially on that daily, is going to be this 58 spot, right? I think that's going to be a really big level just because kind of, post FTX, post Carnage, right? It was really that, 58 level that we kind of bounced to and then rejected. And so if we're going to test those, post FTX highs, right, after on the bounce, I think that 58.42 area is a logical area, right? I think we'll definitely see some resistance in here into 54.60 and 55, right? But again, took out that psych level 50, guys, got that close right at 50. And so going into this week, I wouldn't underestimate things. We're already at 52 after hours. So first target for me on the upside is going to be that 54.72 level. Wow. Let's, gotta be able to talk here on a Monday scan, guys. And then again, above 55, I really think that we ramp pretty clean into that 58 level, which, like I said, that's still some, meat on the bone here, guys. And we talked about why this trade happened, right? Why is Coinbase up, 63% in the past week? Well, we saw the daily candle trap, right? And this is the reason that I'm covering this first is because my top focus setup for this week is actually not going to be on coin. And there's another name that I've really been focused on, but I want you guys to pay attention to the daily here, right? We really saw a pretty clean start to a reversal here, right? We tested 38, negative Silvergate news came out, right? And then we saw this pull all the way back. And then last Friday, we made a 52-week low, right? But what was the key about that day? Well, we had formed a daily candle trap, right? And we've talked about the daily candle trap so many times. But those 52-week low daily candle traps are some of my favorite trades because when you make a new 52-week low on a Friday, you get a lot of shorts coming in, right? And then the candle close, though, it ramps back above that prior 52-week low, right? That's why we see this long wick on the daily chart. And then it closes not only above the prior 52-week low, but above that prior 33 support area. And so we really had an A-plus daily candle trap setup on coin. And then look what happened, right? If you went short last Friday, right, you're down 60%. And hopefully, ideally, that's part of what drove this rally, right? It was just so much covering came in because you had so many people getting in short. And those are the best long side trades, guys. Failed breakdowns, which turn into, right, the best long side trades you can imagine. I'm going to do a full stream about this upcoming Technical Tuesday, which I'm really excited about. I think that'll be a really beneficial stream for you guys. I've got a really nice, content stream planned out for that. So again, pay attention to that daily candle that we're looking at right here though, right? That is going to be important because the next setup that I cover, it's an extremely, if not identical setup, right? So again, coming into this week though on coin, targets for me are going to be 54.72, then 58.42 above. As far as hourly support goes, guys, this has been, last week it was really wait for coin to come into hourly support and look at calls, right? And that's, until that strategy stops working, it's going to be a great one. That's the beautiful thing about this stock is it follows a really nice personality, and buying hourly support dips on something with momentum is a great strategy that I personally love. So again, 47.96 into that 48.30, 38 level are going to be the key hourly support marks for me. Dips versus that level are going to be attractive. If we see an hourly close under that spot, we may see some pullback here, if not a decent fade opportunity. So again, as long as we're holding that base from Friday, I think we're in a really good spot for more upside potential here. Even though, again, the stock has ran really hard. So it's not going to be my top focus because this has already been such a massive trade. And I know a ton of people took advantage. But again, coming into this week, my top focus setup, and then I'm going to go ahead and cover SPX. But my top focus setup coming into this week, guys, is Rivian. So again, we just looked at that coin daily candle. This is the Rivian daily. And it is my top focus because what do you know? We've got an almost identical setup, right? Growth in names starting to reverse, et cetera, et cetera. Tesla gets the news about price cuts, and Rivian just takes an absolute dive. Down 7% at one point on Friday, closed down 6.43%. This is almost identical to the coin setup we saw. Make a new 52-week low on a Friday, right, after showing signs of a reversal, right, but then something like news or catalyst base comes out, drives the stock down. Rivian made a new 52-week low, I think by a penny. And then you get a beautiful daily candle trap back above that prior 52-week low and above that prior 16 support level. So coming into this week, right, I love the Rivian setup long versus 1640, right? So coming into this week, when you see charts like this setup, guys, this is for me going to be one of my highest conviction type of trades because people will look towards those charts. Oh, this looks exactly similar, right? Rivian is probably due for one of those type of rallies. And in my opinion, the chart supports that. Daily candle trap at 52-week lows on a Friday. It's going to be a top focus for me because I personally love that strategy, right? And again, I've really driven in depth, but these longer wicks on the daily, guys, have been a really fantastic signal as of late. For me, at least, in terms of a precursor to a big upside move. So I'm going to be looking at Rivian long. My trade idea here is going to be the in-the-money $16 calls. The reason that I'm looking at in-the-money, short week, and then this is a trade that I want to be able to let work, so I don't want to have the added volatility of looking at like this, 18 calls, which is kind of my target on this trade. I'd rather take the in-the-money calls and be able to let this work with a little bit less volatility. Again, I personally like the $16 calls here. This is going to be my top focus on Tuesday morning. As far as like maybe looking at the 17s for next week is an attractive thought process in my mind as well. But again, that is definitely my top focus coming into today, guys. I think we're going to get a decent bounce trade on, a lot of different EV names. I think Tesla looks really good for a bounce, especially with the fact that we had that news over the weekend of Tesla, or I guess CarMax sold through 68% of their Tesla inventory, 63% of their Tesla inventory as of yesterday morning. I think that's actually a pretty decent headline for the EV space, right? The minute we get these price cuts, demand just absolutely skyrockets. I'm not sure how it looks long-term for those Tesla margins, but again, I think it's enough of a catalyst to give a, decent bounce trade here on Rivian Tesla into, right, what has been a very strong market as of late. So definitely going to be my top focus there, guys. If you look at the 15-minute or hourly chart, as far as hourly levels, I'm going to be paying attention to, again, really into ideally an entry spot here would be in this 1636 to 1640 area, in that consolidation area. And then I think, again, if we can get through 16.5, I really think we get a pretty solid upside move here, in my opinion. I'm going to be targeting 1673 first, 1673 into 1675. And really, I'm going to be looking for a move just like we saw on Coin the, Monday, or in this case, Tuesday after, right? I'm going to be looking for a move back towards those, pre-market highs, right? Which is going to be towards, into that 17.5 range, right? And again, the top of that daily range from the prior day was 1776. So ideal target would be 18 plus. But again, like I said, I like it long versus those 1640s. We get a big gap up here. It's going to be a little bit different, probably not going to be on my focus. But again, I really do love the spot Rivian is in with that daily candle trap at those 52-week lows. And we'll see. Really nice volume on Friday, too. Even though it was to the downside, I think this one looks fantastic. And in terms of risk-reward, it doesn't really get much better, right, in my opinion. So I'm going to be here definitely looking at this one off the open on Tuesday. So that is focus setup number one. Let's talk about SPY and really kind of go through what I'm thinking broader overall market, right? Really strong close here on Friday, guys. Really saw massive call buying, and I mean really big call buying into the close. The net flow here was just absolutely nuts, guys, once we broke over 397. As long as we respect this 397.85 level, and really I think as long as we respect 395, right, which is a massive pivot, and I really think that we've got a pretty decent shot to test those 410 area highs, right, from that prior move. I think that, again, 400 is obviously going to be a bigger resistance level, which, SPX closed right at the 4,000 mark. Again, if we kind of really drive through these levels, I'm thinking that 408 target is my logical next area where I see this moving. At that point, I think the market is getting a little bit overextended even right now. Nothing crazy, but the trend is strong here, right? And until the trend changes, until we see them sell through those support levels on the hourly charts intraday, I really have, my interest short side is going to be less, right? Because we're just not seeing the continuation yet. Now, there may come a time where those A-plus setups do present themselves. I was trading NVIDIA short off the open every single day the first week of this year, right? But it's important to note when it changes, right? You have to pay attention to market conditions. When they started buying just every single dip, CPI, et cetera, regardless, there was buyers every single dip. And at that point, I want to be, at this point now I want to be, instead of looking at bounces into resistance to short, I'm looking at pullbacks to support on the hourly to long, right? Direction is really irrelevant. It's all about the A-plus setup at hand, and that's really been my focus as of late. So again, 400, that 401 area is going to be my first target here as long as we respect that 369 down to 397.5 area. But again, like I said, broader picture, I'm thinking we could test 408. We are coming into that weekly trend line. I'm not even going to talk about it because it's literally everything that we're seeing right now. Yes, we are approaching the weekly trend line. I'm not heavy in overnight positions on a short-term basis enough. If this happens, great. If not, if we reject, there's going to be fantastic setups to the downside. So really, again, this market is all about approaching things with an open mind. One thing I do want to mention, and again, this is going to be a focus setup for me as well, is Apple closed over 134, right? And we talked about how important 134 was. Look at the breakout Apple saw once it broke through 134, right? Because that was that key weekly support, right? And while I haven't been trading Apple long, it's only been a short side vehicle for me because of the fact that it's been a name with relative weakness, right? Apple looks like a fantastic setup for continuation upside as long as this 134 level holds, right? You can see the massive support that we've seen not only on the daily but the weekly, and this really looks like it's going to test that 138 level. I did see some rumors floating around over the weekend about them unveiling a new product for 2023 tomorrow. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition. That looked like it's just purely speculation at this point. But again, I think that this is a nice setup for a test of 138, which was kind of a broader daily support zone. If we look at the weekly chart on Apple, we can see just how big of an area that 134 level was, right? Just because it got soaked every single time, right? And every single time we saw it get soaked, we saw, a $10 or so bounce at the minimum, right? So we're currently up, $10 off the low, which was 124. And again, I really think you see these long wicks, right, on the weekly. I think we've got a little bit more room here, probably up to the 138.28 level. We'll see again this week. I'm not going to be trading this one to the long side, but this dictates so much overall market action, and if it's really, really strong and we get a nice setup here, I think it could present, a decent opportunity, right? Once we get towards that 138 level, that would be an area that I may be looking to start fading Apple, right? If we see, a lot of resistance come in at 138, I think that could be a decent short side opportunity, later this week. So definitely towards the end of the week, definitely think we've got, possible focus set up there off of that 138, 139 level to the downside. Would probably be looking at the maybe even like the February 120 puts or late, January 27th, 125 puts maybe. I think those would be kind of attractive at that level at 138. So, could even look at maybe the 130s probably at that spot. So, again, I kind of like that month of time type of trade. That would interest me a little bit there. But again, not a huge focus until we see those sellers come in. I don't want to be trying to speculate or predict too much. Again, jobs as traders on an intraday basis is focusing on reacting to moves, not trying to predict them, right? That's the job. And that is the job is to be a risk manager and to be focusing on, reacting with a clear head, right? Instead of trying to predict things and predict data and predict yada, yada, yada. Got to focus on react, don't predict, right? Okay, great. So Apple, nice focus setup there. Tesla is the other one that really interests me, guys. I've talked about this endlessly, it feels like, and really it's just such a digestion zone, right? We've just got so much digestion here. And how could we not, right? We saw $100 move down, right? We went from 200 in mid-December, right? Or 180 mid-December to 100, right? We saw, a 50% decline in 6 weeks. That's incredible, guys. It's going to take time to digest this move. But what I want to pay attention to here is the daily volume, guys. Look at the daily volume that we're seeing down here. Put the news headlines aside for right now. The daily accumulation here is just absolutely incredible. We're printing 180 million shares plus in volume per day here. That is insane compared to what we were trading, given in say October, we're trading 80 million shares a day. We're still on a regular basis trading 150% of what was our average daily relative volume a couple months ago. There's likely going to be an insane move here very soon. But again, these accumulation patterns can take time. So I don't want to front run that too much. But with Rivian having that daily candle trap, those are sometimes the type of things that can lead into seeing those moves, a little bit before they happen. And again, not trying to predict here, right? But the 125 to 126 breaks looks fantastic. I think the minute we get a daily close over 124, I'm going to be looking for a move to 130 here, right? I've said it kind of multiple times, but I think that this daily candle, we fill that back to the upside and going to be kind of targeting 138 above. I will say one thing. A lot of people have saying, do you think this rally is going to last, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really care, but if the rally lasts or not. If it does, great. If not, I'll trade the downside. But I will say this. Tesla was the recipient of so much pain over the last 8 weeks that I think that when we see this rally or, maybe, we're entering a start of, a more bullish period, right? We're so conditioned to the rally aspect, right? I do think, though, we'll see the market pull back when we see a name like Tesla, right, who was the recipient of so much pain over the, most recent period, get one of those, 10 to 15% type of weeks, right, or over a 2-day period. When we see that type of rally out of a name like Tesla, that's when I'm going to start, being a little bit more risk off because this is the risk on name, right? This is the original squeeze name. You could argue a name like Coin or BTC are taking over this in terms of risk profile. But again, I think that there's going to be at least a larger scale bounce here in the near term. I will wait for it to confirm technically before taking the trade. But again, definitely a really nice focus setup. Daily accumulation patterns are, again, fantastic here. So definitely going to be looking towards this one as a possible focus setup. Again, I would prefer a daily close over 124 or 125. But again, I mentioned we are seeing demand really skyrocket here. If those CarMax numbers are any type of indication, they sold through 60% of their inventory over the weekend. I haven't seen the updated number as of today, but you can imagine at some point, right? Yes, those price reductions are big, but I think that, it's at least going to get some type of near-term move off of these demand headlines. So we will see. Paying very close attention there. I think that's going to be an A+++ alongside trade when it does happen. I'll be watching this one tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if this opens green in pre-market, which would definitely be a change for the Tesla bulls, but we'll see, right? Like I said, again, it's going to be that day, and you just have to set price alerts. This is one that I say it all the time. This is when you just set your price alerts and let it work and then take advantage, right? So again, that's going to be a big one, but we'll see and wait. As far as Netflix goes, this is the last setup I want to talk about. Earnings this week on the 19th, guys. So we've got Wednesday earnings here on Netflix. This is going to be an exciting one. Thursday earnings here on Netflix. This closed over the 332 mark. If we look at the weekly, that's an incredible move, right? We're back into kind of that pre-earnings meltdown, right? Or capitulation down, if you want to call it that. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Over 332. I think this has room to 400. The weekly candle closed over the breakout spot. Again, we have earnings here, so I'm probably not going to be trading this one as much, right? Because of the fact that those premiums are going to be absolutely juiced. If it's Thursday in and of itself, I actually may take a lotto here. We'll see. Probably not. But, I do think the chart looks fantastic for an upside move. But again, we've got a binary catalyst here. So I'm probably not going to be touching until post earnings. And I think it'll be a fantastic trade once that sets up. But again, Netflix always gives you an opportunity after the fact, right? Last name I want to cover, and it'll be quick, is NVIDIA. Clear strength here, right? Just every dip bought. Clearly, NVIDIA's been getting soaked, and it's been one of the relatively strongest names. That's a monster weekly candle right there, guys. If we get later into this week, I would say this. I would pay attention to the 176 area. That's where we wicked out at prior resistance last time. As far as broader term levels here, I'm going to be paying attention to 176 for a possible short trade. If we start to see sellers come in, once again, that's very similar to the Apple trade that I mentioned at that 139 area. Gotta wait, right? I'm not going to be coming in here saying I'm buying puts at 176 because the trend on the short term has been up, right? And the broader time frame looks really healthy here. But again, if we start to see some exhaustion in that 175 to 176 area, I'm going to keep this one on watch for a possible fade back down to 165. Again, really no interest until that area comes to fruition. And like I said, guys, it's all about patience in this market. It's really all about finding those setups that really fit your A+ metric, right? And that's kind of what I've been going off of. It's still a 90-minute in the morning type of market for me. And then really capitalizing if there's other opportunities there when they present themselves, if they're A++++. Otherwise, it's nailing those focus setups that I cover on the pre-market live every single morning, and then just execution, right? We talk about it all the time, but it's that robotic execution on a day-to-day basis that really leads towards that primo consistency. So that is going to be it for the Sunday scan this week, guys. I went through a lot of flow this weekend. Nothing that crazy jumped out at me. Amazon and Tesla definitely got pounded call side on Friday. We'll see. Again, this is a wait-and-see type of market for me, but definitely really honed in on that Rivian setup. Coin should be a fantastic move. We've gotten a huge move on Bitcoin over the weekend. So again, guys, we're coming into a fresh week. If you haven't started those New Year's resolutions yet, start them now. But again, I am very excited to take advantage of the rest of this month, the rest of this week, and could not be more excited to continue on the momentum of 2023. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Go Bucks tonight, and I will see you guys bright and early on the Pre-Market Live tomorrow at 9:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking focus setups for the day ahead. I will see you guys there. Peace.